Picture this. You open your eyes to a brand new morning. The world outside is still heavy with silence, but inside your head, the noise has already started: emails, deadlines, the memory of yesterday's mistakes, the fear of tomorrow's uncertainty. Most people roll over, grab their phones, and surrender to chaos before they've even stood up. But what if you didn't? What if the very first hour of your day could become your strongest weapon, an anchor of clarity, discipline, and peace that no storm could shake? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Imagine beginning each morning not as a prisoner to anxiety, but as the master of your own mind. Imagine building a routine so intentional, so grounded in wisdom, that nothing outside your control could ruin your day. This isn't about coffee hacks or productivity gimmicks. This is about ancient Stoic practices, time-tested disciplines that can transform your mornings into a foundation for resilience and calm. Think of it as a sacred space where you align your mind before the world tries to scatter it. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you 10 Stoic things you should do every morning. They're not complicated. They don't require expensive tools, but they will challenge you, gently, to rise above distraction, to focus on what matters, and to carry the stillness of the morning into the noise of the day. If you've ever felt like life pulls you in 100 directions before breakfast, this is for you. Stay with me, because each principle builds on the next, and by the end, you'll hold in your hands a morning routine that's not just productive, but unshakable. Now, let's step into the first thing. Thing 1. Discover your Ikigai. Begin each morning with purpose. When the alarm goes off, most people face the same temptation to hit snooze, pull the covers tighter, and escape into the comfort of sleep for just a few more minutes. But here's the truth. The way you begin your morning sets the rhythm for your entire day. And the Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, understood this deeply. He wrote in his Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's where the Japanese concept of Ikigai meets Stoic wisdom. Ikigai means your reason for being, the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be rewarded for. When you wake up with Ikigai in your heart, mornings stop being a battle with the alarm clock. They become an invitation, a call to rise with purpose. Think about it. How different does your morning feel when you're excited about what lies ahead versus when you're dreading the day? Imagine two people waking up. One scrolls through their phone, immediately swallowed by other people's opinions, drama, and noise. The other sits up, takes a breath, and remembers, "I am here for something greater than distraction." Which life would you rather live? The Stoics believed every day should begin with reflection on purpose. Epictetus taught, first, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This isn't about rigid ambition or chasing material success. It's about aligning your life with values, with the things that make you feel alive and useful. Your Ikigai doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow or traveling the world. It might be as simple as being a present parent, creating beauty through your art, serving others with your work, or striving to live with integrity in a world that rewards shortcuts. In modern terms, Think of Ikigai as your compass. Without it, you wake up each day like a ship adrift, tossed around by circumstances, deadlines, and the expectations of others. With it, you rise like a captain with a clear direction, steering your life toward meaning. Here's a practical exercise each morning. Before the noise begins, ask yourself 4 questions. 1. What am I passionate about today? 2. What am I good at that I can use to serve others? 3. What does the world around me need from me right now? What can I do today that aligns with my long-term values? Even if your answers feel small or incomplete, the act of asking aligns your mind with intention. Over time, these reflections sharpen into clarity, and clarity becomes power. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that his role was to contribute, to live as part of a greater whole. What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee. This Stoic reminder ties directly to Ikigai. Your reason for being is not just about you, it's about your place in the larger human story. That's what makes it powerful. Now let's ground this in modern life. Suppose you're a teacher. Your mornings aren't just about coffee and rushing through traffic. They're about shaping minds, igniting curiosity, and planting seeds that may grow long after you're gone. Suppose you're an entrepreneur. Each day isn't merely about meetings or spreadsheets. It's about creating value, solving problems, and building something that outlives you. Suppose you're simply someone trying to live more mindfully. Then your Ikigai may be showing kindness, learning patience, or cultivating wisdom day by day. When you wake with purpose, the little frustrations of the morning lose their sting. The traffic jam isn't an insult, it's a chance to breathe. The tough conversation at work isn't a threat, it's an opportunity to practice courage. The endless tasks don't feel meaningless, they're stepping stones toward something bigger. This is how Stoicism transforms mornings, not by removing challenges, but by reframing them through purpose. Your Ikigai is the lens that makes struggle meaningful, and meaning makes endurance possible. Let's be clear. Finding your Ikigai isn't a one-day process. It's a journey. At first, you may not know the full answer. That's okay. The Stoics would say, start where you are. Begin with intention, no matter how small. Align today's choices with the person you want to become tomorrow. Over time, those choices shape your character, and your character shapes your destiny. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, resist the snooze. Instead, sit up, breathe, and remind yourself, I have a reason for being here. Today matters. I matter. That simple act, rooted in Stoic reflection and guided by Ikigai, will ignite a morning that belongs not to chaos, but to you. Because, in the end, your mornings aren't just about waking up. They're about rising with purpose, with clarity, with the unshakable calm of someone who knows why they are here. Thing 2. Start the night before. Prepare the mind for a clear morning. Most people think a good morning starts with the alarm clock. The truth, it starts the night before. The Stoics understood that tomorrow's strength is forged in today's preparation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, each day provides its own gifts. And one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is a night that sets the stage for a calm, intentional morning. Think of it like this: if you go to bed in chaos, scrolling through endless feeds, drowning in noise, or replaying every mistake from the day, You're handing tomorrow a mind that's already tired before it begins. But if you treat your evening as a ritual, deliberate, simple, sacred, you wake not only rested, but ready. The Stoics weren't strangers to distractions. Rome was full of noise, politics, theater, games, gossip, wars. Yet they trained themselves to end their day in reflection, not in indulgence. Seneca wrote, "The mind must be given relaxation. It will rise improved and sharper after a good break." That's the heart of the evening discipline. Give your mind the conditions to recover, so that it may rise clear, sharp, and focused. The power of pre-sleep rituals. In modern life, this means protecting the last hour of your day. Put the phone away. The blue glow of screens tells your brain it's still daytime, keeping your thoughts restless. Instead, turn that hour into something restorative. Read a book that nourishes your mind. Write down the day's lessons in a journal, or simply sit in quiet breathing. These aren't luxuries, they're investments. One powerful Stoic practice is the nightly review. Epictetus advised his students, "Admit not sleep into your tender eyelids till you have reckoned up each deed of the day. How have I transgressed? What done, what duties left undone?" Imagine ending each night with that clarity, taking note of where you lived with virtue and where you fell short. It's not about judgment, but about learning. That way, when morning comes, you aren't dragging yesterday's regrets, you've already laid them to rest. Planning tomorrow with intention. Another simple but profound step: plan tomorrow. Before sleep, write down the 3 most important things you want to accomplish. Not 10, not 20, just 3. This Stoic-inspired simplicity clears away the clutter and ensures you wake with a sense of direction. You're not reactive to the world's demands, you're proactive, guided by intention. Think about the alternative: waking without a plan. The day takes control of you instead of you controlling the day. By setting even a small outline the night before, you reclaim that power. This is what the Stoics meant by focusing on what is within your control. You can't control tomorrow's events, but you can control how you prepare for them tonight. Rest as discipline, not laziness. Many people see rest as weakness. The Stoics knew better. True discipline includes rest, because a mind constantly in motion breaks down. Marcus Aurelius observed, "When you have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, remember that your purpose is to be a human being, not to be a sleeper." But here's the paradox: to rise with purpose, you must first give yourself real rest. Early to bed isn't old-fashioned, it's Stoic. It's preparation, modern application. Picture 2 different evenings. One person stays up until 2 a.m., watching videos, snacking, scrolling endlessly. They wake sluggish, mind clouded, and the morning slips away. The other person sets the phone aside an hour before bed, writes down tomorrow's priorities, and reflects on the lessons of the day. They sleep deeply, rise refreshed, and begin the morning with clarity. Which life feels closer to the one you want? You don't need perfection. Even small adjustments: a cup of herbal tea instead of late-night caffeine, journaling instead of scrolling, dimming the lights instead of blasting a screen, build momentum. Over time, these habits shape a mind that wakes ready instead of weary. The Stoic perspective, at its core, starting the night before, is about respect for yourself, for your time, for your life. It's about understanding that mornings aren't accidents. They're created, and creation requires preparation. The Stoics remind us that each day is an opportunity to practice virtue, but that opportunity is only seized when the mind is prepared. By shaping your evenings with intention, you step into each morning as a craftsman stepping into their workshop tools, sharpened, mind clear, ready to work with purpose. So tonight, before you fall asleep, remember this. You're not just ending the day, you're setting the tone for the next. Treat your evening like the opening chapter of tomorrow's story, because the discipline of the night is what gives you the freedom of the morning. Thing 3. Protect the first hour from distraction. Claim the morning for yourself. The first hour of your morning is sacred, yet most people give it away. The moment they open their eyes, they reach for their phones, checking emails, scrolling social media, reacting to headlines, letting the world rush into their minds before they've even had a chance to think for themselves. By doing this, they start the day in a reactive state, a slave to other people's demands, moods, and dramas. The Stoics would have called this a tragedy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The first hour of your day is your greatest chance to claim that power, to set the tone, and to decide how you will engage with the world. Once you give it away, you are already behind. Why the first hour matters. Think of the mind like still water in the morning. At dawn, it is calm, reflective, unbroken. But the moment you toss in the stone of distraction, notifications, news, noise, the ripples spread endlessly. Once your attention scatters, it's far harder to recover. Protecting your first hour isn't about being anti-technology. It's about being pro-intention. Seneca said, "Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future." The moment you start your day by reacting to messages, you are neglecting the present. You've leapt into other people's timelines, expectations, and fears. A Stoic morning instead begins with you, your thoughts, your breath, your values, creating the Stoic hour of stillness. So how do you protect this time? You build a boundary around the first hour. Treat it as untouchable. During this sacred space, avoid email, social media, news, anything that hijacks your attention. Instead, fill the hour with practices that nourish your inner life. Here are some suggestions drawn from both Stoic wisdom and modern mindfulness. Meditation or breathing. Sit quietly and breathe. Focus on the simple act of being alive. Marcus reminded himself each morning that life is a gift not to be wasted. Journaling. Write down your intentions for the day. Seneca advised reviewing the mind, often recording thoughts, helps clear them. Reading open the works of the Stoics or another book of wisdom. Begin the day feeding your mind with strength rather than fear. Movement. Whether it's a walk, stretching, or exercise, move the body to align it with the awakened mind. The activities matter less than the mindset. They should center you, not scatter you. Example, 2 mornings. Compared. Imagine this person. A wakes, grabs their phone, scrolls through endless updates, compares themselves to strangers online, checks the news and is already anxious before breakfast. Person B wakes, leaves the phone untouched, drinks water, writes 3 lines of gratitude, stretches for 5 minutes, and sits in silence with their breath. which person walks into the day calmer, clearer, stronger. The difference is night and day, and the truth is, you have this choice every single morning. The practice of attention. The Stoics taught that attention is everything. Epictetus reminded his students, if you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad. Meaning, if you want to grow, first recognize where you are vulnerable. In the morning, your vulnerability is distraction. By acknowledging it and guarding against it, you build the strength of self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to concentrate every minute like a man on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. How can we live like this if our attention is stolen before the day even begins? Protecting the first hour is training the mind to focus, to be serious, to live deliberately. To succeed, you need boundaries. Here are a few Stoic-inspired practices you can try. Keep your phone outside the bedroom. If it's not within arm's reach, the temptation vanishes. Prepare a morning ritual space, a chair by the window, a journal on the table, a book waiting for you. Make it easier to choose peace than distraction. Set a no-input rule, no external content until you've given yourself at least 30-60 minutes of your own thoughts. Anchor with a question each morning. Ask, what's in my control today? That one thought can shield you from the world's chaos. At its heart, this practice is about reclaiming your sovereignty. The Stoics knew the world would always try to pull us into its storms. The only way to withstand it is to anchor ourselves first. By protecting the first hour, you declare, I will not begin my day on someone else's terms. I will not let my mind be tossed around before I've even risen. I will begin with clarity, with peace, with intention. And here's the irony, when you protect your mornings from distraction, you actually become more effective later. You carry the calm into the storm. You're less reactive, more focused, and harder to shake. So tomorrow, resist the urge. Don't hand your morning over to noise. Sit with yourself. Reflect. Breathe. Write. Move. In those moments of stillness, you will find the strength to face whatever comes and to live, as the Stoics would say, not by chance, but by choice. Thing 4. Consistency in waking up. The discipline of rising with purpose. There's a quiet strength in doing something simple, every single day, without fail. For the Stoics, this was the essence of discipline, not dramatic acts of heroism, but small, repeated choices that shaped character. And one of the most powerful choices you can make is this: wake up at the same time every morning. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, scolded himself for lingering in bed at dawn. When you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do. His reminder is as relevant now as it was 2,000 years ago. Rising with consistency is more than a habit. It is a declaration of who you are and what you stand for. The power of a fixed wake-up time. Consistency creates stability. When you rise at the same time each day, your body, mind, and spirit begin to trust you. You're no longer ruled by the random pull of comfort or fatigue. You rise with intention, not impulse. It's like building a foundation brick by brick, quietly, steadily, until one day you find yourself standing on solid ground. Think about it when you hit snooze over and over. You're sending yourself a message. You're saying, "My comfort matters more than my commitments." But when you rise at your chosen time, even when it's hard, you're saying, "I am in control. I keep promises to myself." That message is powerful. Over time, it rewires your sense of self-respect. The Stoic practice of perseverance. Epictetus reminded his students, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Waking consistently is one of the simplest, yet hardest, ways to practice self-mastery. Your bed is warm, your eyelids heavy, and the temptation to remain in comfort is strong. But self-mastery is not built in comfort. It is forged in the decision to rise. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's about training perseverance. Every morning you choose consistency over comfort. You are rehearsing for life's greater battles. If you can conquer the pull of the blanket, you can conquer the pull of fear, laziness, and distraction. Modern life, ancient wisdom. In today's world, irregular sleep schedules are the norm. People stay up too late scrolling, then drag themselves out of bed at different hours, always feeling behind. This chaos bleeds into their day's missed opportunities, constant rushing, chronic fatigue. But consistency flips the script. When you rise at the same time, you create rhythm. Your energy aligns with your actions. Your mornings stop being chaotic. They become ordered, predictable, dependable. Consider two scenarios. Person A wakes at 6 a.m. every day. Their body adjusts. By mid-morning, their mind is sharp. They have time for reflection, movement, planning. Person B wakes at 6 a.m. some days, 8 a.m. others, noon on weekends. Their body never adjusts. They drag themselves through the day, always chasing energy. Both people have the same 24 hours, but one lives aligned with rhythm while the other lives at the mercy of randomness. Building consistency. Step by step. Of course, waking consistently isn't easy, especially at first. That's why the Stoics would say start small, but stay steady. Here are a few practical steps. 1. Set a clear intention the night before. Before sleep, remind yourself tomorrow, "I will rise at this time. I will not break my word." 2. Go to bed earlier. The easiest way to wake consistently is to sleep consistently. Protect your nights to strengthen your mornings. 3. Let light in. Natural light is nature's alarm clock. Leave curtains slightly open to let sunrise gently wake you. 4. Anchor your wake up to purpose. Don't just rise for something. A walk, journaling, prayer, or reflection. Purpose fuels consistency. The deeper lesson. The Stoics knew that big transformations come from small, steady acts. Seneca wrote, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself every morning?" You're given a chance to answer that question. When you rise at your chosen time, you're not just starting the day, you're practicing virtue. You're proving to yourself that you can demand and deliver the best. And remember, consistency isn't about perfection. There will be days when you falter. The Stoic response is not to collapse in guilt, but to return with patience. Marcus often reminded himself to begin again, to renew, to keep trying. Discipline is not about never failing. It's about never quitting. Why it matters. When you wake with consistency, you build trust with yourself, with your day, with your life. That trust ripples outward. You become more dependable to others, calmer in chaos, steadier under pressure. And slowly, quietly, you embody what the Stoics saw as true freedom, mastery over yourself. So tomorrow, when the alarm rings, remember Marcus's words. You are here for a purpose. Rise for it. Rise with it. Rise into it. And do it again the next day, and the next, until your mornings are no longer battles, but victories. Because in the end, waking consistently is more than a habit. It is an act of defiance against the pull of comfort, an act of honor toward your commitments, and an act of courage toward the life you are building. Rise, not once, but every day, with intention. Thing 5. Self-compassion and forgiveness. The Stoic art of beginning again. We like to imagine discipline as flawless, unbroken, a straight line of success. But reality is messier. You'll miss alarms. You'll break routines. You'll slip into old habits. And in those moments, many people collapse into self-criticism. They call themselves lazy, weak, or hopeless. But here is the truth. The Stoics knew well. Growth is not about never falling. It is about how you rise after you do. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, ruler of millions, admitted his own struggles daily. In meditations, he reminded himself, when you have done a wrong thing, be quick to set it right. And remember, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Even in failure, he didn't demand perfection from himself. He demanded honesty, correction, and renewal. Why self-criticism fails. Beating yourself up for mistakes rarely fuels change. It traps you in guilt, and guilt becomes paralysis. The Stoic path isn't about cruelty toward the self. It's about compassion balanced with responsibility. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, accept imperfection as part of the process. Laugh at your slips, learn, and begin again. The discipline of gentle renewal. Imagine your morning alarm goes off, and you stay in bed. By 10 a.m., regret floods in. What do? Many people surrender the entire day. I failed. So what's the point? The Stoic response is different. Pause, forgive yourself. Then ask, what can I do now? With the time left, that shift turns failure into renewal. 1 weak moment doesn't ruin you, it gives you practice in starting over. This is why Marcus Aurelius urged himself not to dwell on mistakes. Don't be ashamed of needing help. You have a task to accomplish. Just as a soldier goes into battle, so you must take up your duty. Your duty is to return to your path, however many times it takes. Example, the fitness analogy. Think of someone training at the gym. They plan to exercise 5 days a week, but skip Wednesday. What happens next matters far more than the missed day. If they berate themselves and quit, the habit dies. If they forgive themselves and show up Thursday, the habit survives. Life is the same. Consistency is built not on perfection, but on resilience. It's easy to think compassion is soft, but forgiving yourself is actually a form of strength. It means you are not enslaved to shame. It means you refuse to let yesterday dictate today. Seneca wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Your mistakes are that friction, they polish you. If you allow them to, the real weakness is quitting. The real strength is trying again. Practical Stoic practices for self-compassion. Here are a few ways you can embody this principle in your mornings. 1. Pause, breathe, reframe. When you slip, stop. Take 3 breaths. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I stumbled, but I can still move forward." 2. Return to the present. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. What matters is the next action. Can you salvage the day with one positive choice now? 3. Daily reset ritual. Build small reset cues into your day, a cup of tea, a quick journal entry, or a walk. These serve as gentle restarts when you need them. 4. Practice kind self-talk. Ask if a friend struggled the way I did. How would I encourage them? Now speak those words to yourself. Why this matters to your routine. The Stoic morning routine is not about perfection. It's about direction. You may not follow it flawlessly every day, but if you return to it again and again, the direction of your life changes. You grow steadier, calmer, stronger. Think of water carving stone. It doesn't do it in one perfect stream. It does it drop by drop, over time. Your habits are the same. Imperfect, yes, but powerful in the long run. A Stoic reminder of humanity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly that he was human, prone to anger, temptation, distraction. He wrote not to brag, but to guide himself back when he strayed. And that's what you must do too. Recognize your humanity, forgive it, and recommit to your path. Every morning is a chance to begin again. Every failure is a teacher. Every reset is a victory. So tomorrow, if you stumble, remember this. You are not defined by the fall. You are defined by the rising. You are not weak for needing compassion. You are wise for granting it. Because the Stoic way is not about being flawless. It is about being faithful to your values, to your purpose, to your journey, again and again and again. Thing 6. Small acts of discipline. The power of minor victories. When people think of Stoicism, they often picture grand feats of endurance soldiers in battle, emperors facing crisis, philosophers enduring exile. But the heart of Stoic discipline is not found in extraordinary moments. It's forged in the ordinary, in the small acts, the overlooked details, the little choices you repeat every single day. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The way you be one is not in speeches, but in actions tiny, consistent acts of discipline that accumulate into character. And nowhere is this more visible than in the small habits of your morning. The alarm clock across the room. Take the simple act of placing your alarm clock across the room. It seems trivial, but when you force yourself to rise, walk, and turn it off, you're declaring something powerful. I choose to rise over comfort. That one small act trains your willpower before the day has even begun. It's not about the alarm. It's about the message, I am the master of my impulses, not their servant. Epictetus taught no man is free who is not master of himself. Moving your alarm is self-mastery in practice. It builds the muscle of discipline in an environment you control. The bed you make every morning. Now consider making your bed. Critics scoff. What's the point? No one sees it, but that is exactly why it matters. It's not about others, it's about you. The simple act of smoothing sheets and arranging pillows signals respect for your environment and for yourself. William McRaven, a modern U.S. Navy admiral, echoed Stoic wisdom when he said, "If you want to change the world, start by making your bed." Why? Because the first victory of the day is not out there, it's within your four walls. By completing one small task with care, you prime yourself for bigger victories later. Marcus Aurelius himself understood this. It is not the weight of the future or the past that crushes you, but only the present. And the present task is always bearable. Making your bed is that present task. Bearable, achievable, yet meaningful. Why small victories matter. Small acts of discipline may seem insignificant, but they carry immense weight. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you cast a vote for the person you want to be. One act may not change your life, but repeated daily, it reshapes your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, who respects order, who rises to challenges. Think of life like a mosaic. Each tile is tiny, almost meaningless by itself, but placed carefully, consistently, they form an image of beauty and strength. Your habits are those tiles. Each small victory contributes to the masterpiece of your character. Example, the chaos of the undisciplined morning. Compare two mornings. In one, you snooze the alarm 3 times, stumble out of bed, leave the sheets tangled, rush out the door with clutter behind you. In the other, you rise at the alarm, make your bed, breathe deeply, and step into a tidy space. The difference in energy, focus, and confidence is enormous. One person feels behind before the day has begun. The other feels composed, capable, and ready. This is why the Stoics taught us to focus on what's within our control. You can't control the traffic, the emails, or the weather, but you can control your alarm. You can control your bed. These are victories no one can take away. Training for bigger battles. Here's the deeper truth. These small acts are not just chores. They are training. They prepare you for the bigger battles of life, moments of temptation, crisis, or adversity. If you can discipline yourself to rise at the alarm, you'll be better prepared to resist anger in an argument. If you can commit to making your bed, you'll be steadier when tackling a difficult project. Small acts build big resilience. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." These little acts are ways of anchoring yourself in the present. They teach you to focus on what is in front of you, one task, one choice, one victory at a time. Practical Stoic habits to try. Move the alarm across the room. Train your will before your day begins. Make your bed. Show respect for order, even in private. Drink a glass of water immediately. Small refreshment, big signal you begin by replenishing, not depleting. Tidy one corner of your space. The environment reflects the mind. Start small, create calm. At its core, the lesson is this: greatness is built in the ordinary. Virtue is not proven in theory but in practice. The person who makes their bed faithfully is better prepared to face the world faithfully. The person who chooses to rise to the alarm is better prepared to rise to life's challenges. Tomorrow morning, don't underestimate the small acts. They are not chores, they are rituals. They are silent declarations of who you are becoming. They are proof that you can master yourself. Because the Stoic path is not about waiting for the big moment. It is about living with virtue now in the tiny, repeatable victories that form the fabric of your life. Thing 7. Accountability partner, the Stoic value of shared discipline and community. We often picture Stoicism as a solitary pursuit, an individual standing tall against the storms of life. And while it is true that the Stoics emphasized personal responsibility, they also recognized the profound importance of community, friendship, and shared discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." You are not an island. Your strength is multiplied when you walk alongside others. That's why one of the most powerful steps you can take to anchor your morning routine is finding an accountability partner, someone who shares your commitment to growth, who holds you responsible, and who helps you rise when you falter. Why accountability works. We are social beings. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus taught the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. When you have a partner in discipline, you are less likely to abandon your commitments, not because you are weak, but because you are human. And humans thrive in connection. Think of it this way: when you only rely on your own willpower, your excuses can feel convincing. But when you've promised another person, "I'll wake up at this time, I'll practice this habit," your sense of honor is engaged. You don't just answer to yourself, you answer to the bond you've created. That bond is powerful. Example: training together. Picture two people who both want to begin exercising in the morning. One trains alone. The other agrees to meet a friend at 6 a.m. The first will often battle their own excuses. "It's too cold. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow." The second knows a friend is waiting. To cancel is to let someone down. And so they rise. Which person builds greater consistency? The one who doesn't walk alone. Your accountability partner doesn't have to share the exact same goal. What matters is the shared spirit of discipline and growth. They may want to meditate while you exercise. They may want to journal while you practice gratitude. The alignment is not in the activity, but in the commitment to self-mastery. The Stoic emphasis on mutual support. The Stoics emphasized that wisdom was not hoarded, but shared. Seneca wrote letters to his friend Lucilius, guiding him, encouraging him, sharpening him. In one, he said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving." This is the essence of an accountability partnership: mutual improvement. You uplift them. They uplift you. You become better together. How to choose an accountability partner. Not everyone qualifies. Choose carefully. Look for someone who values growth. They don't need to be perfect, but they must be striving. 2 is trustworthy. Without honesty, the partnership collapses. 3 encourages, not condemns. The goal is support, not shame. 4 is consistent. Discipline shared with inconsistency breeds frustration. This could be a friend, a family member, a colleague, or even someone you connect with online. What matters is the shared agreement: we will hold each other to our higher selves. Practical ways to build accountability. Morning check-ins. Send a quick message when you wake. A simple "I'm up" can reinforce the habit. Weekly reflections. Share what went well, what didn't, and what you'll adjust. Celebrate small wins. Don't only focus on failure. Recognize victories, however small. Course correct together. If one stumbles, the other helps them back up without judgment. The Stoic perspective on community. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly, We were born to work together, like feet, hands, and eyes. Your accountability partner is your ally in this work. You are not competing. You are complementing. You are moving in rhythm toward your best selves. Accountability doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. It means you recognize that growth is not meant to be carried alone. Just as soldiers march stronger together, just as bees thrive in the hive, just as friends refine each other, so too your morning discipline flourishes when shared. Beyond the morning routine, here's the beauty: once you cultivate accountability in your mornings, it spills over into other areas of life. You begin to strengthen your commitments in relationships, in work, in personal growth. You live more honestly because someone else bears witness. You live more courageously because you are not alone. Why it matters. A morning routine is fragile at first. Excuses are strong, beds are warm, motivation fades. An accountability partner acts as your shield in those vulnerable moments. They remind you of your why when you forget it. They call you back when you drift. And you do the same for them. This practice is Stoicism in action. It is humility admitting you need others. It is discipline choosing consistency over ease. It is virtue committing to shared growth. So if you want to make your mornings unshakable, don't walk alone. Find your ally. Walk with them. Rise with them. Encourage them. And let them encourage you. Together, you will become stronger than either of you could alone. Because the Stoics knew the truth, discipline is personal, but it is never private. We rise higher when we rise together. Thing 8. Memento Mori. The morning power of remembering death. When most people wake up, their first thought is of the to-do list, the rush, the obligations waiting to crush them. Rarely do they pause to consider the fragility of the moment, the simple fact that waking at all is a gift, not guaranteed. Yet the Stoics urged us to do exactly that, to greet each morning with the sobering, yet liberating reminder, Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. At first, it sounds morbid. Why think of death when you're just beginning the day? But for Marcus Aurelius, this thought was not dark, it was freeing. He wrote in Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." In other words, mortality is not something to fear, it is something to fuel us, to make each moment more urgent, more beautiful, more alive. Why remembering death matters in the morning. When you recall that life is fleeting, small irritations lose their grip. The traffic jam, the spilled coffee, the rude comment, do these really deserve your peace? Knowing how limited your time is, and more importantly, this reflection sharpens your choices. It forces you to ask, if today were my last, how would I live it, not in fear, but in gratitude? Not wasting hours in distraction, but devoting them to what matters: love, virtue, purpose. Seneca reminded us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Memento Mori is the antidote to waste. It wakes you to the miracle of the morning. A modern example. 2 perspectives. Imagine 2 people start the same day. One rushes, complains, checks emails, scrolls endlessly, treating the morning as disposable. The other pauses, breathes, and remembers, this morning is not owed to me, it is borrowed. It could be my last. Suddenly, they greet loved ones with warmth, approach work with focus, savor their breakfast, and find meaning even in small moments. Which life feels fuller, the one infused with the awareness of mortality? Memento Mori is not fear, it's freedom. To remember death is not to live in dread. It is to break free from pettiness. Epictetus told his students, "Keep death and exile before your eyes each day." Along with everything that seems terrible, by doing so, you'll never have a base thought, nor will you have excessive desire. Death, kept close, makes us courageous. It strips away the trivial. It reminds us that we are here for virtue, not vanity. This is why Memento Mori belongs in your morning routine, not to depress you, but to awaken you, to shift your focus from endless distractions to the precious, limited canvas of today. Practical morning application. How can you weave this into your routine without sinking into gloom? Simple with small, intentional reflections. Pause before rising. As you open your eyes, whisper to yourself, "This day is a gift. It may be my last. Let me use it well." Journal a question. Write, "If this were my last morning, what would I not waste my time on today?" Anchor with gratitude. Think of one person or one moment you're grateful to still have. Mortality sharpens appreciation. Choose your action. Pick one meaningful thing to do today, something aligned with virtue or love. Make it non-negotiable. The Stoic perspective on legacy. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet even he knew his time was short. He reminded himself that emperors and beggars alike share the same fate. What endures is not wealth, but virtue. What remains is not titles, but character. By remembering death, you ensure that your mornings are not wasted on vanity. You are called to live with integrity, to love deeply, to act with courage. When you rise with this awareness, you stop sleepwalking through life. You stop postponing the changes you know you must make. You begin to live now. Modern relevance. In a world obsessed with longevity hacks and productivity tips, the Stoics offer a deeper wisdom. It's not about how long you live, but how fully. One person may live 80 years without truly being alive, while another lives 30 years with presence, gratitude, and virtue that echo long after. Every morning, you face this choice. Will you live as though time is endless, drifting through distractions, or will you live as though this morning is sacred, knowing it is finite, irreplaceable, and fragile? Why this matters. A Stoic morning is not just about discipline, it is about perspective. Memento Mori places everything in its rightful scale. Suddenly, the email can wait, but a hug cannot. The complaint seems small, but the chance to be kind seems enormous. Mortality clarifies, simplifies, and dignifies your day. So tomorrow, when you wake, don't just rush into routine. Pause. Remember, death is certain, but life is now. Use it, honor it. Fill it with virtue, love, and gratitude. Because the morning you waste today is a morning someone else will never receive again. Let Memento Mori guide you not to fear death, but to treasure life. Thing 9. Negative visualization. Preparing the mind for life's inevitable storms. Most people begin their mornings with forced positivity. They tell themselves, "Today will be perfect. Nothing will go wrong." But reality doesn't bend to our wishes. Delays happen. People disappoint us. Plans collapse. And when those challenges come, the unprepared mind breaks. The Stoics, however, taught a radical practice that flips this thinking negative visualization. Negative visualization is not pessimism, it is preparation. It is the art of imagining potential difficulties before they arrive, so that when life delivers them, you are steady, not shaken. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil." By rehearsing the day's potential hardships, he immunized himself against surprise and resentment. Why this practice works. The human mind is fragile when caught off guard, but when you expect setbacks, you are no longer shocked by them. Instead, you are prepared. Epictetus said, "When you are about to undertake an action, remind yourself what kind of action it is. If you are going to bathe, picture what happens in the bath, some splashing, some pushing, some abusive talk, and you will undertake the action more securely if you say at the outset, 'I want to bathe,' and at the same time keep my choice of will in harmony with nature." This is the essence of negative visualization: to expect splashes in the bath, noise in the street, rudeness at the office, so when they come, you are unshaken. Example: daily frustrations. Imagine two commuters stuck in traffic. The first expected a smooth ride and grows furious with every honk. The second practiced negative visualization and anticipated delays. They used the time to listen to an audiobook or breathe deeply. Same situation, different mindsets. The difference is preparation. By rehearsing potential frustrations in the morning, you inoculate yourself against them. You build emotional armor. Gratitude through contrast. Here's the paradox: by imagining loss, you deepen gratitude for what you have. Seneca advised his friend Lucilius, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." But he also wrote about practicing the thought of losing comforts not to sadden us, but to sharpen our appreciation. If you imagine life without your loved ones, you return to them more attentive, more loving. If you imagine losing your health, you are grateful for today's breath, today's movement. If you imagine setbacks at work, you value the progress you've already made. Negative visualization doesn't breed despair, it awakens gratitude. So how do you apply this without sinking into gloom with balance? Here are some ways to practice negative visualization in your morning routine. 1. Preview the day. As you sit with your coffee or journal, picture possible challenges, traffic, criticism, delays. Tell yourself these may happen, and I will remain steady. 2. Scale up. Occasionally imagine bigger losses, the job you depend on, the possessions you take for granted, even life itself. This is not to dwell in fear, but to remind yourself these are temporary gifts. 3. Respond. Don't react. As you visualize, rehearse how you'd respond with calm, patience, or humor. That way, when it happens, you've already practiced virtue. 4. Return to gratitude. End the exercise by noticing what you still have right now. The contrast makes gratitude sharper. Why the Stoics practiced this daily. Life in ancient Rome was uncertain: wars, plagues, betrayals, sudden death. The Stoics didn't survive by ignoring these realities. They survived by preparing their minds for them. We live in a different world, but uncertainty remains. Emails crash, deals fall through, people leave, illnesses strike. The practice remains just as vital. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't expect figs in winter. Nature has its limits." Negative visualization is simply refusing to expect figs in winter. It is aligning your expectations with reality. Modern relevance. In today's culture of constant optimism, negative visualization feels counterintuitive, but blind optimism leads to fragility. One setback shatters the unprepared. The Stoic is not shattered because the Stoic rehearsed. They have already accepted the possibility of loss, and in that acceptance, they are free. Imagine starting your morning not with a demand everything must go right, but with a calm acknowledgement things may go wrong, and I will endure them with dignity. That shift alone can change the entire texture of your day. Why this matters? Negative visualization doesn't make you gloomy. It makes you unshakable. It turns life surprises into expected guests. It transforms fear into calm readiness. It turns every challenge into a chance to practice virtue. And perhaps most importantly, it awakens gratitude. By imagining the loss of what you love it more deeply now. So tomorrow morning, before you step into the day, pause. Ask what might go wrong today. How will I respond with patience, with courage, with wisdom? What might I lose? How can I cherish it while I still have it? This is not pessimism. It is power. It is living awake, prepared, grateful. Because in the end, the Stoic doesn't demand a perfect day. The Stoic prepares for an imperfect one, and in doing so, discovers a deeper peace. Thing 10. Gratitude Journal. Ending with thankfulness, beginning with peace. The Stoics taught us that life is fleeting, unpredictable, and often harsh. Yet, at the heart of their philosophy lies not bitterness, but gratitude. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily when you arise in the morning. Think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Gratitude was not sentimental. It was strength. It was a way of framing life so that even in hardship, one could find meaning and calm. And one of the simplest, most powerful ways to cultivate this strength is by keeping a gratitude journal. This practice, though modern in format, is timeless in spirit. Each night before you close your eyes, you write down a few things, no matter how small, for which you are grateful. In doing so, you shift your mind away from lack and toward abundance, away from complaint and toward appreciation. Why gratitude matters for the morning. The irony is that gratitude at night sets the stage for clarity in the morning. When you end your day focusing on blessings, your sleep deepens, your mind rests lighter, and when you wake, you are primed to greet the day not with resentment, but with peace. Gratitude becomes the bridge between yesterday's struggles and tomorrow's strength. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Gratitude isn't passive, it is active strength. It reminds you that even amidst loss, you still have something. Even amidst pain, you still have a reason to endure. Example ending the day. 2 different ways. Picture 2 people. One ends the night scrolling through social media, comparing themselves to others, angry over news, anxious about tomorrow. They toss and turn, wake groggy, and greet the day already behind. The other sits quietly with a notebook. They write, "I am grateful for my child's laughter, for the meal I ate, for the breath in my lungs." Their mind softens. They sleep more deeply. They wake calmer. grounded. The difference is not circumstance, it is perspective. The Stoic link between gratitude and control. Gratitude is also profoundly Stoic because it focuses on what is within your control. You cannot control tomorrow's events, but you can control your response to today. You cannot control whether fortune gives or takes, but you can control your recognition of what you already have. Epictetus reminded his students, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This is the essence of the gratitude journal, to train the mind toward rejoicing instead of grieving. How to practice the gratitude journal? You don't need anything elaborate, just paper, a pen, and a few minutes. 1. Set a time. Make it the last thing you do before bed. This creates ritual and consistency. 2. List 3 things. Big or small, it doesn't matter. The smile of a stranger, a completed task, the comfort of your bed. 3. Reflect on why. Don't just write the words. Ask, why does this matter to me? This deepens the imprint. 4. Close with intention. End by whispering thanks, not to anyone in particular, but to life itself. In just a few minutes, you rewire your mind toward appreciation, the ripple effect of gratitude. Gratitude doesn't stop at the journal. It seeps into your mornings, your relationships, your worldview. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw problems. You approach people with patience instead of resentment. You notice beauty in what you once ignored. Marcus Aurelius, despite the weight of empire, often paused to marvel at the ordinary, the play of sunlight, the cooperation of nature, the kindness of others. Gratitude made him resilient in the face of chaos. It will do the same for you. In a culture obsessed with chasing what's next, more money, more likes, more possessions, gratitude is rebellion. It says, I already have enough. I am already blessed. I am already whole. This doesn't mean you stop striving, but it means you strive from fullness, not emptiness. Why this matters to your routine. A Stoic morning is not just about discipline, but about peace. And peace is born from gratitude. By closing your day with thanks, you open the next with calm. By ending with appreciation, you begin with clarity. Gratitude is not the denial of suffering, it is the recognition that even amidst suffering, good remains. And when you focus on that good, you strengthen your ability to endure. The final Stoic reminder. Seneca wrote, "We should always be reminding ourselves that this is a privilege, to live, to love, to breathe, to rise each morning at all." Gratitude is that reminder. So tonight, before sleep, take a pen, write 3 things. Tomorrow, rise lighter. And with each day you repeat this, you will build not only a stronger morning routine, but a stronger soul. Because in the end, the Stoic life is not about endless striving. It is about finding contentment in the present, virtue in your actions, and gratitude in every breath. And the gratitude journal is your daily practice to anchor this truth. And so, we return to the quiet truth beneath it all. Your mornings are not accidents. They are choices. 10 simple things, 10 gentle practices become more than habits. They become a way of life. The Stoics taught us that strength is built in small steps, that peace is found in simple moments, and that the quality of our thoughts shapes the quality of our days. When you rise tomorrow, remember, you are not waking to chaos, You are waking to opportunity. Each sunrise is a gift. Each breath is proof you still have time. And each choice you make, however small, is a brushstroke on the canvas of your character. Take these practices with you, not as burdens, but as companions. Let them walk with you into the storm, and let them remind you that no storm lasts forever. If this journey has spoken to you, I invite you to stay close. Subscribe channel, share your reflections, or leave a word of message in the comments. Your voice matters here. Now, let your mind rest. Carry this calm with you. And remember, tomorrow morning, you rise again, stronger, clearer, unshakable. Good night, sweet dreams.